Hello, 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 everybody. My name is Chantal Francis, and I am giving you episode 2 recap for Big Brother Celebrity Edition. I have to say, it's like this is the Big Brother I'm talking about. I think what I like the best about it is that regardless of the fact that they are celebrities, it's a new cast. Like everybody's new. Nobody really knows how to play. They may be fans or not fans, but everybody is like new and fresh. There's no returnees. It's not an all-star season. It's fresh new people playing the game, and that is so refreshing. I don't know if they mentioned it last time, but it was the first time that I noticed it. But they're actually playing for $250,000. I'm like, that's a pretty good reason to be there. So it kind of shocks me that like later on in the episode, it shows that Meta World Peace like doesn't want to stay for $250,000. Like maybe he has more money than that, and like so this is just like supposed to be for fun. I don't know what his situation is, but like it's still $250,000. Like wouldn't you want to at least pay for charity or something? Like that's a huge sum of money. So how did this episode start? I love how the announcer like kind of frames Omarosa as like kind of like the guest star of the show. Like she was the last person to show her little her image at the end of the intro. And she's like, and Omarosa. And I'm like, she's the star of the show. So I'm down with it. So I guess we started kind of with the gift bag scenario and kind of figuring out what the heck was going on with that. Brandy had, I don't know if it's a funny line or if she was fed this line from the producers, like I'm not exactly sure, but she's kind of like, she says, oh, she usually gives her gift bags to her housekeeper because they're usually full of crap, but this might be a gift bag that she wants to keep. And I guess maybe from someone else it would land better and maybe I would chuckle and find it a little bit funny, but coming from her, I'm just kind of like, that's a little bit see you next Tuesday-esque in my opinion. But I guess it's just showing how rich she is and she doesn't care about these swag bags, whatever. So James is like mocking all the other house guests. Like, I don't know who this person is. I know he has a lot of Twitter followers apparently, and like he's some Nickelodeon star, cool. But like he's mocking all the house guests for being scared of this big gift bag, and obviously he doesn't realize like how much danger he actually is in, because if he did, he might be like, what is going to happen with this gift bag? Or let me try really hard to get this gift bag because like it might be saving me. Like, why is everybody else so worried about it? They're worried about it probably for a reason. So maybe you need to be a little bit worried too, but he doesn't seem to see that. So I love that Ross, though, he was preferred to stick with the women. Like, I'm a big Ross Matthews fan, and when him and Shannon were having kind of a conversation about like who was aligning up together, like he kind of admits that he gravitates more towards women. The women are willing to accept him as part of their group and their alliance, but like he's also willing to act sort of like a spy and kind of keep his eyes and tabs on like what the men are doing and kind of reporting back to Shannon this week and the other women. So I like that he's kind of playing this like double agent type role. So hopefully he can get away with it for a long time, because like I like him gathering intel, especially because he's funny about it too. Like he has some funny things to say, so I want to hear what he has to say. So yeah, he made, oh yeah. I was like, what did I write down there? I'm like, oh, he made a good sucking pun. And so I was like, I kind of chuckled. That was the first time I chuckled at one of his little puns, but yeah, he did. He went there and he made a sucking pun that I was living for it. I was appreciating it. So Mark is like kind of commenting with Shannon about like their game, and like they're kind of having a strategy talk. And Mark, the genius that he is, decides when Shannon asks him, who's your biggest threat? He's like, well, you. Like, I don't know if it's like, isn't it really, really obvious that you would never want the person in power to think that there may be any sort of chance that you would be coming after them if she didn't put you up and get you out? Like, I don't know. I just think that it's super obvious. And like, maybe he's trying to, fluff her ego and be like, oh, you're so strong. Like, you're amazing. You were solid in that competition. Like, maybe that's what he was trying to do. but it just came off really, 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 really badly. And, saying that she's like a stone cold killer. I'm like, no, like you can't be allowing Shannon to know that you're thinking of her in this way. So Chuck is actually realizing that the girls are probably planning on sticking together and that they don't have the numbers. So I was like pretty impressed that because it didn't seem like he had any game knowledge beforehand, but it seems like now he's kind of like Chuck, that is, learning how to play the game, which like I really, 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 really like. So with the gift bags, though, I was listening to Shannon read like at least a minute and a half of like instructions on how to use the gift bag. And even after that, I barely understood how to use it. But so I'm gathering now that if one person uses the gift bag, that person at the nomination ceremony will be able to open their gift bag. Inside the gift bags are going to be random prizes and one prize of the recast. If more than one person goes in and says that they were willing to open their gift bag, that it becomes a random draw that whomever's gift bag will be opened at the nomination ceremony. So this is what I gathered. So in the sense that you want to have more numbers or be the only one that opens their gift bags, depending on if you're going more for like all your alliance or if you just one person by yourself or hoping that you have the lucky recast. I think that's what was going on there, but it's like really hard to understand. And Marissa did a pretty good job of spelling it out for me. She kind of like in her diary room, she kind of went through she was probably learning herself, like, what the heck does this gift bag mean? And how can I use it for or against my game? She probably had no idea. So probably in the diary room, they're probably like explaining to her how to use the gift bags. So what I was really shocked by was the fact that Chuck and James are friends outside of the house. I'm just kind of like, I would never see you guys crossing paths at all. Like I don't know. I just don't see it. Maybe Chuck's kids went to like a Nickelodeon fan con type thing. I have no idea, but I was really shocked to hear that. And then even more annoyed that when James was working out with Meta and Chuck, he's saying that oh yeah, I'm throwing down some iron with Chuck and Meta World Peace. And it's like, throwing down some iron? I don't know. His lingo is not for me. Maybe it's for somebody, but it's not for me. So Shannon's a big threat in everybody's eyes, and everybody's kind of seeing that, which I'm like, oh boy, she's gonna have to tone it down. But it's kind of really hard with these such a short season that it's really, really easy for her to be playing too hard too fast, because it's just really hard to figure out what the timing is. I feel like between yesterday's episode and the day before as a premiere, so much Big Brother has happened and we've had 2 hours of the show. So it's really hard to gauge how to play this game, I think. And so I think she's doing a good job so far. But she might have to cool it a little bit because everybody thinks of her as a threat. So Ross is the spy. Throwing down iron with Chuck and Meta World Peace. And Chuck seems to know what's going on and decides that he's going to start kissing the girl's ass or butt. Sorry. He's doing a green face mask, and him and Meta World Peace are getting their nails done by the ladies. And even though that you could tell they were not enjoying themselves at all, but at least they're making some sort of effort to make some headways with the ladies. So I think that's pretty smart gameplay. But then the really good conversations start to happen when Omarosa's first talking with Shannon, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to finally have a chance to talk to you. And then they kind of go a little bit deep with her loyalty and proving how loyal she is to Shannon, and paralleling that with how loyal she was to Trump. And then Keisha walks into the room, and Keisha is kind of voicing the everybody else, like me even, being like, we were really shocked by the fact that you wanted to support this man, and how could you support this person? And then Omarosa brings it around and says well, when you're in like the eye of the storm, like you can't see what's going out in the periphery. And you can kind of relate to that because like all these things that are going on with Mr. Bill Cosby, like you still stood by there and supported him. You probably got a little bit of flack for that. And like, I'm like, oh my God, like two huge, like almost scandals, like, and they're just like talking, and Omarosa is so calm that it's actually terrifying. That I'm just like, she's not heated up by this conversation at all. Like she's really, really stone cold. I was actually kind of like, I thought it was a really good argument, and I was really scared because like she can lay down an argument really, 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 really well. Because like I was like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's, you know, no, not apples and oranges. Like Omarosa's right. It's the same thing. It's so calm. It's crazy. Yeah, so another comment of me like not really liking James. I don't think that like his diary rooms really drive me crazy. I don't know if he's being fed these lines or not, but like they're just not funny. I don't find him funny. I'm not interested in like, I don't think he's eye candy. I don't want to look at his hot bod. Like I'm just not into him. I'm sorry, James. I'm sure you're a lovely person in real life. I'm just commenting as a person watching a TV show, but just not that into you. Oh, and then another like this ding dong, friggin' James, also comments on the fact that Shannon is like a huge threat, and you know that's who is a threat to him in the game. And I'm just like, okay, so you already have beef with Brandy, and it would be everybody's always looking for a reason to put the first person up, and then you're going to tell her that she's a threat and on your radar. It's like, what are these people doing? So Shannon and Meta finally have a little bit of a conversation, and that's where he kind of shows that like he misses his wife and his family. Lovely. You know, he wants to kiss his wife all over 20 different places, like whatever. And then he says that he's not going to open his gift bag. So why would Shannon want to get rid of somebody that's willing to do anything to go home, and they would like follow all your rules and like basically be your puppet? It's like, sorry, Meta, you're probably going to stay here unless you walk on your own. So maybe they don't get paid if they walk on their own or something, like their stipend, because it's like, okay, bye. You don't want to be there, bye. But like nobody's going to send you out the door and waste their HOH on you missing your family. Like it's 19 days. Relax. It's not that long. It's not that serious. For $250,000. Like, I don't know. I mean, you might love your wife, but like that's a sacrifices the $250,000 for sure. So yeah, I love that Shannon was not letting him go. Like, even though she's like, of course, yeah, I'll put you up and put you out. So Ross is basically interviewing an Omarosa, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there, my mouth is dropped. I'm like, oh my God. And Ross knows it. He's like, this is investigative journalism. And he's like, I'm making headlines for you. And like, I'm like, yes, like, there's no way that this is not going to be a huge thing. And like, I'm wondering, like, is Trump going to like be tweeting back about like this whole scenario and Omarosa's feelings and stuff like that? I'm like, and Omarosa has feelings. She's crying. Omarosa is crying. Like, I would never think that I would ever see the day where I see Omarosa like shed tears about her decisions to stick by Donald Trump in the White House. I'm like, wow. Like, she's crying, and of the burden of all of her choices that she makes. And I'm like, and how the nation is not supporting her, and that she, like, it's like a crazy movie. Like, I can't even believe it. But when she was like to Ross, he's like, it's bad. I'm like, oh my God, how bad is it? And he's like, should we be worried? And she's like, and he's like, oh my God, like, we are worried, but you're supposed to say that, like, we don't need to be worried because like we actually are worried. And she's like, it's not going to be okay. And I'm like, oh my God. So we all like don't think that it's going to be okay. And someone from the inside actually is saying that it's not going to be okay. And Ross asked her if she were to ever vote for him again. She says, no. Like, what? God, no. Not in a million years, she said. I'm like, I got goosebumps. I was like, wow, this is intense. Like, what's going on in this world right now? And so next scene, you know, after like I lift my mouth off the ground, and it's, you know, Omarosa just talking about, okay, so what we're going to do is a classic Big Brother backdoor, which is basically putting up Chuck and Meta and Mark. Mark's acting as a pawn. Meta thinks he's going to be going home because like that's what he's asked for. And then the backdoor plan is to get rid of James. I'm down with this plan. I think it's great. But then James is more worried about using a unitard, so he's not going to use his gift bag, so that's awesome. And Brandy has to mention the fact that she thinks he must have a small package, which is why he doesn't want to wear a unitard. He's like worried about a punishment as opposed to winning head of household when he's like actually like dead man walking and he has no idea, or he doesn't seem to care. So Keisha comes up with a plan that instead what they're going to do is just go for the jugular and if somebody does it, like opens their gift bag, like one of the men, then basically all bets are off and they're going to put up, putting up James and Chuck, like straight away. And so everybody was down with this. The gift bag logo comes up on the screen, looking a lot to me like the Best Buy logo, not gonna lie. And Chuck runs to the door, and then Brandy runs to the door. They had the dining room door right after him, so it's like a standoff to see like if he's gonna go into the room or not. And eventually he did, and then all the other women decide, and Ross decide to line up, and they all go into the diary room and say that they are wanting to open their gift bag. Except for Marissa, she goes into the diary room, but she doesn't actually say that she's going to open her gift bag. Not sure why she did that. Maybe she didn't want to win the head of household, but it's going to be obvious, I think, that she lied, but who knows. And so, yeah, so everybody opened their gift bag, and they also had to apparently take like a colored marker from a bag. And so at the head of households, or the nomination ceremony, before Shannon made her nominations, whoever held the marker, which was orange, was the one that she picked, was going to be the bag that was open out of the random draw out of all the people that decided that they were willing to open their gift bag. The person that had that orange marker was Keisha Nightpolium, who stands up, dethrones basically Miss Shannon Elizabeth, and she nominates Chuck Liddell and James. So she did it. She pulled the trigger. Shots are fired. Boys against girls. Looks like girls are on top right now, but who knows what's going to happen in the veto competition. And I'm actually really excited for the veto competition because, like, Chuck looks like he's wanting to play. And I am always into somebody wanting to play. So that's going to be happening later on tonight. I think it's a 2-hour episode tonight. And so tomorrow I'll probably have my recap on, like, that episode, the veto, and I think it's eviction as well. Holy cow. Anyways, I hope you're loving this season as much as I am. If you want to subscribe, there should be a little button down below for subscribe to our Reality Realness channel, where we cover all things Big Brother, Survivor, RuPaul's Drag Race, anything I got time to cover, I'm totally going to cover it, as well as my co-hosting partner, Michael Pez. So yeah, you can find us at Reality Realness with 3 S's on Instagram. allstarreview@gmail.com if you want to ask me any questions about Big Brother right now. Otherwise, see you soon. See you tomorrow.